Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. This is going to be Sunrise on the Readathon reading vlog part 2. So the first reading vlog that I filmed the outro for earlier today is basically the first 4 books that I read this month in July, and then this one will be whatever else I read for the rest of July. So I wanted to start this vlog today. I have 2 books that I want to talk about. One of them I started a couple days ago at work. I'm barely into it, so I haven't marked it as started anywhere on like Goodreads or anything. And the other one I just started today during sprints. So I guess let's talk about the one that I started the other day, and that is Automatic Noodle by Annalee Newitz. I'm only like 16 pages into this one, so I have very little to report on so far, but what I know about this one is it's a cozy sci-fi following a group of robots who are waking up after being powered off for I think several months, and they were working in this restaurant. I think it was like a burger joint or something, and they've woken up to find their restaurant like abandoned and kind of like decaying, flooded, and they don't know what happened to the owners and they don't know why the restaurant was abandoned. I don't really know much more than that in terms of the story of this, but the cast of characters so far is very sweet. They're very wholesome. We have our main character, I suppose, whose name is Stay Behind. He is a previously military robot. I think he's this guy here on the cover. And then there is Sweetie, who from the waist up looks like a woman, and then from the waist down has 3 like robot legs. I think it's this one. This one that's the octopus is Cayenne. And then there's also a robot called Hands, who is basically just like a barrel with arms. I don't think he's on the cover, but these are probably his hands. But anyway, that's the cast of the restaurant that we're working with. Again, I'm super early into this one. I don't really have much to say about it, but I think it's going to be a rather wholesome experience. I think this is probably right up my alley in terms of light, cozy sci-fi. So this is one that I'm going to be working on throughout the vlog. And then the other one is A Game in Yellow by Haley Piper. This one I just started today. I'm only about 40 pages into this one. It is slightly longer than Automatic Noodle. It's about 270 pages, but so far it is reading very fast. It has like a certain energy about it that's compelling to read. So the situation behind this one is we're following a lesbian couple, Carmen and Blanca, who are kind of struggling in their sex life because Carmen has this like mental barrier where she's not really enjoying sex anymore. She's not feeling like desire as much anymore. She's feeling like a huge disconnect there, and it's making her feel very guilty because she loves her girlfriend very much. And so her and Blanca have been trying a lot of different things to spice up the bedroom, but nothing's really working until one day Blanca meets this person named Smoke, who I guess has something that might be able to fix this disconnect that happened. So her and Carmen go to meet Smoke, and she shows them this play called The King in Yellow, which is a real play, but I don't know much about it, so I have no idea how faithful this is going to be to the play. But so there's this play, and Smoke says that it'll help her overcome whatever this like inner barrier is that's holding her back. She says that it brings people like to the brink of madness or death or anything, and when they stop reading and they pull away from the story, they feel like an intense euphoria. But it is kind of addictive psychologically because you are testing the limits of madness and insanity, basically. So that's kind of where we are. Basically, at page 40, we just had the first experience with Smoke and the play, and how it kind of made Carmen absolutely ravenous for Blanca and for sex in general. So I guess it worked. And now Carmen is like, so when are we going to go back to Smoke and see the play again? So I'm looking forward to seeing how unhinged and messy this gets. I have heard it is very unhinged and weird. It's also divisive. A lot of people really like it, and then a lot of people really hate it, and I'm curious to see where I'm gonna fall on that spectrum. I feel like sometimes these books where they're very divisive and they have such polarizing opinions, I end up usually falling on the side of liking it. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you may know that I kind of enjoy a little bit of an erotic horror like Spread Me or Walking Practice, where things get a little bit erotic, a little bit existential, a little bit Lovecraftian, a little cosmic is where I tend to like my horror. So far it's definitely compelling and I want to keep reading it, so I'm probably going to keep reading it right after I finish this vlog update. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to go back to sprints so I can keep working on A Game in Yellow, and I will let you know when I have made some substantial progress. Hello! Despite me wearing the same shirt as last time I talked to you, it is in fact a different day. It is the day after I last spoke to you. I'm wearing my Sunrise on the Readathon shirt again because I'm going to be hopping into some sprints with Katie tonight. We're going to be doing like a last push for Battle 2, or Week 2, to try to finish as many books as we can. So I'm going to hop into sprints after I film this update and hang out with her for a bit. I am a bit nervous though. It's always a little nerve-wracking to talk like face-to-face with somebody new, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited as well. It's a little overcast today, so I'm sorry if the lighting is pretty bad, but I'm here with a couple reading updates. I want to get into a more unfortunate update first, and that is for Automatic Noodle. I am 42 pages into this one, which doesn't seem like very much. 42 pages really isn't that far, but considering it's only 160 total, it feels like quite a dent into it. But the update is I am going to be DNFing this one. I am not really enjoying it. I'm not really getting interested in the story at all. I know last time I talked to you about it, I was much more optimistic, but I think I was kind of looking at it with rose-tinted glasses a little bit, and after doing a bit more reading in it today, I am just really bored. There is like nothing happening in this, and it's just a bunch of mundane, monotonous stuff that's not cozy. Because sometimes people think that cozy is just like normal, ordinary life things, and I suppose in a way that is true, but it's like romanticizing those things, and this isn't really doing that. And I did go look at some of the lower ratings for this and the DNFs and see what people were saying, and a lot of people were saying that this isn't really cozy. Like, it advertises that it's cozy, but it really kind of isn't. It talks a lot about some heavy themes, but in a way that's extremely hand-holdy. I do think that some of the reviews were coming at this from a place of, I don't want politics in my books, I don't want political commentary in my books. I mean, we don't even have to get into that discussion of reading is political, because I hope that you and I both know that it is. But I think that a lot of the people that were having issues with this from that angle were specifically feeling like it was preachy. While I can kind of see where those people were coming from a little bit, because it is preachy at times, the majority of the reviews that were negative or DNFing this were because of the author's stance on AI and the stance that the narrative takes, framing robots as basically the equivalent of immigrants in this world and saying that robophobia is the equivalent to xenophobia. Obviously, I'm not finishing the book, so I can't really say how much water that argument holds, but so many of the reviews were saying something along those lines, so it does lead me to believe that maybe it holds a little bit of weight. And I think all of those discussions have me wary about this already, but then on top of me already being bored, I think it's just better to DNF. So I don't know what percentage this is. I am gonna count those 42 pages for the readathon. I'm gonna log them today. I mean, 42 pages is just a drop in the bucket, but every page counts for this readathon. So that's the kind of bummer update out of the way. Let's get to the good stuff. Yesterday during sprints, I started this book and I read 166 pages yesterday in total. I am going to finish it tonight. That is the goal. I am dying to finish this because it just has me completely hooked. Basically, everything I told you story-wise and plot-wise about this, nothing has changed. There's been effectively no movement plot-wise, but there has been a lot happening, like psychologically, and in relation to the characters. Like, there's a lot happening in here. Can I quantify it to you? Not really. This is definitely one of those books where we are just here for the vibes. We are here for the wild time, you know? Truthfully, I have no idea how I'm going to explain this book in my reading wrap-up for this month. I don't know what I'm gonna say. And earlier today, I updated my Goodreads progress with how far I am, and I said, holy God, I think they put cocaine in here. The way that this main character is feeling when she reads The King in Yellow, that like terror, madness, intrigue, fascination, addiction, all-consuming, sensual, lusty feeling, that's how I feel reading this book. I don't know what it says about me that I am enjoying this as much as I am, that I'm getting so much sick satisfaction out of this story. But yeah, suffice to say, I am enjoying the hell out of this. I don't really know why. Sometimes books just kind of hit you at the perfect moment, and if you read them like 5 minutes later, well, not literally 5 minutes, but like in the span of your life, the equivalent of 5 minutes, would I have loved it as much as I'm loving it now? You really never know, and that's the beautiful thing about reading. Anyways, I'm gonna hop into sprints and aim to finish this one tonight. I will probably not talk to you tonight about this, so I will come in whenever I have my final thoughts on A Game in Yellow. Hello, it has been a few days, and I have a big reading update for you. So the other night on Sprints with Katie, I ended up finishing A Game in Yellow. I'm very, very happy that I was able to finish this right before the cutoff. So this was able to count towards Battle 2, and I think the only bonus prompts that it fulfilled was reading from the library and under a 3.75 star rating, because this one actually has a surprisingly low rating, which is a shocker, because I ended up really, really loving it. It just goes to show sometimes it does not matter what the average rating is, because largely it's going to be subjective to your personal reading taste. And suffice to say, I got a lot out of this reading experience. I really, really enjoyed it. I had an absolute blast with this book, but I will give you a lot of disclaimers and a lot of caveats to that statement. Hello? Hang on, I gotta let Mango in. This book is just mess city. There is so much lesbian, toxic relationship drama going on in here. You've got characters being shady and hiding their intentions. You have characters who just are making the worst possible decisions at any given turn. And on top of that, reality is just getting like completely distorted because of this play that is making people insanely horny and homicidal and any other combination of those things. It's a very, very strange time. It was a wild ride. Towards the end of this, I had no idea what the fuck was happening at any given moment. And honestly, I had a great time. I had an absolute blast. The level of fuckery in here was just transcendental. Is it coherent and does it make really a lick of sense? Arguable. But I'm not necessarily here for a narrative that is coherent. I'm here for a good time. I'm here for a wild ride. And this did give me that. Most of the time as a blanket statement, I want my books to be coherent and I want to be able to follow what is happening. I want to know what's happening. But in this case, I really didn't need to know. I didn't need to know. I was just having the time of my life with it. I don't know what they put in this book, but I was having so much fun with it. And despite there being so many asterisks on that statement of I loved it, I do recommend it if you like something weird and surreal, if you like erotic elements and horror overlapping, although there wasn't as much overlap as I was hoping there would be, ironically. I kind of wanted a little bit more of literal fuckery with the cosmic elements of this. There was a moment there where we were kind of getting that, and then it didn't go back there again. I really wish that it had. I don't know, I guess I just enjoy a mindfuck, and this sure was one. So moving on now to talking about reading plans going forward, I did start another book today called A Lady for All Seasons by TJ Alexander. It is a queer, trans, Regency romance, and I'm very, very early into it. I have no initial thoughts to give you because I'm only a chapter or two in. I am doing sprints tomorrow with Samantha, who is the captain for the water district, so I'm hoping that I can read a bunch of that tomorrow during sprints. This was kind of a quick, brief update. I just wanted to make sure that I came in and talked to you about my final thoughts on A Game in Yellow because I'm pretty sure last vlog I forgot to give my final thoughts. I think it was the Blighted Stars. I was like, oh yeah, I definitely filmed my final thoughts for that, and then I never did. That's all I got for you for now in this little update, so I will see you in the next one. Well, the next update, not the next video. I'll see, whatever. I'll see you on the other side. It has been a while since we've done a car vlog update, and it's moderately cool today for the standards of summer. That's kind of why I haven't done any car updates, is because it has been too godforsakingly hot to film anything in the car, especially when I don't want to be running the AC and ruining the audio. So here we are. It is moderately cool today. It has been a few days since I've given you any reading updates, so I have a little bit to share. I think last time I talked to you, I had just started A Lady for All Seasons, and I am about halfway into that one at the moment. I think an ambulance is approaching. I am at a hospital, so I would not be surprised. I don't remember how much I told you last time, but basically what is happening is we are following our main character, Verbena. She is out to get a husband because society expects that of her. This is Regency era, so it is expected for a woman to have a husband in order to secure her standing and her reputation in society, as well as provide for her family because her family is on hard times financially. I think her father blew all their money or something. So she's feeling a lot of pressure to marry because of the societal expectations, but also the financial expectations of her family. For a lot of reasons, she has no interest in marrying. She really doesn't want to, but she feels that she's expected to. So she ends up hearing that her friend Etienne is kind of in a little bit of a precarious situation in the gossip mill. I believe people are starting to put together that he may or may not be interested in women in that way, or something to that effect. And so Verbena, caring very much about her friend, but also having her own motives, she says, hey, I think we could both benefit from some kind of a marriage arrangement situation. And Etienne is down. He is game. So they do agree to have like a false engagement. And during this time, Verbena ends up making a friend named Flora, who is a poet, and they have an immediate spark, like huge chemistry between the two of them. And Verbena has a lot of like past baggage when it comes to female friendships. She had a female friend that really sabotaged her. And so she's much more apprehensive about her friendships, kind of sees them as more of a transactional way of acquiring gossip or something like that. But in Flora, she ends up finding a really genuine friendship, and they kindle something that is really sweet. I am now going to bring up a bunch of characters that are involved in this situation tangentially. I'm just gonna rapid fire them at you. I feel like I'm gonna need like a chart of arrows pointing to each person and how they're involved with each other. If you don't want to know anything about the relationship dynamics in here, just skip a little bit, and I'll put a timestamp somewhere that you can just skip to that number. But a lot of this is on the back of the book, so it's not really super spoilery, but I do understand if you want to skip ahead a little bit. So I hope you are taking notes because this will be on the test. Are you ready? So we already know about Verbena and Etienne, their like lavender marriage arrangement situation. Verbena is friends with Flora, the poet. Flora is also William, the writer. So William and Flora are two sides of the same coin. I think that William/Flora are gender fluid or trans. There's not really like a terminology specifically on page for it yet, but there wasn't really at the time in the Regency era either. So what we are told is that William does go from William to Flora and vice versa. They're very much their own people. They have their own personality traits. They have their own interests because Flora is a poet and then William writes novels. And so Flora/William are both infatuated with Verbena because William met her at another event. So William and Flora are connected because they're two sides of the same coin. William and Flora are both interested in Verbena. Verbena likewise is interested in both of them, not knowing that they're the same person yet. And then as far as Etienne's romantic prospects, William and Flora are acquainted with this guy named Miles. Miles is also gay, and he did confide that in William, who then in turn confided in Miles about him being Flora as well. So Miles is the only character who is aware of William and Flora's like situation, but Etienne and Miles met at another event. There's so many events that happen in this book, but they met and instantly sparks flying, instant like love at first sight. Where I am at in the book at the moment, they have just all gone to this kind of artistic retreat. It's like a castle manor off on an island, I believe. It's like a kind of isolated location. This whole situation came about in a very convoluted way because there's a lot of different things happening here. Verbena wants to set up Etienne and Miles because she can see how interested they are in each other, but she also wanted to bring Flora with her to this island so that they could get to know each other better and see if there's anything between them. She also wants to set up Flora with her own husband so that they can both have lavender marriages and be secured in their place in society, but not have to worry about anything like scandalous happening. So that's like all the players that are involved in this. There are other characters involved in here as well, but they're more like side supporting characters. Those are like the critical characters in the romantic web that is happening here. Anyway, that is the current situation with A Lady for All Seasons. I am loving it. It is so cute. I'm like giggling and kicking my feet and punching the air. I love it so far. It is really, really cute, and I'm excited to see where this goes with the whole Flora, William, Verbena thing. And of course, I also want Etienne to be happy. He is such like a cream puff of a man, just like the sweetest little guy. So I want him to be happy. I want Verbena to be happy. I want Flora and William to be happy. I want Miles to be happy. I want everyone to be happy. The other book I started since the last time I talked to you is a complete tone flip, and that is Our Sister's Keeper by, I believe it's Jasmine Holmes. Notably not the same book as My Sister's Keeper. It is Our Sister's Keeper, so they are different. This one I think is historical thriller horror. I'm not sure exactly on the categorization, but it's definitely historical. I think it takes place in the 1930s, and it's following this couple, this married couple who moved to a town in Mississippi called East Cobb. It is following Thea and her husband Kid. They're both moving to East Cobb to pursue Kid's career ambitions because he's going to be the principal or the vice principal, I believe, at a school in East Cobb. So what they heard from the person who set up this job is that East Cobb is a black town. It is entirely black, and basically they hyped this place up as a sanctuary and a haven for black Americans to thrive and to excel. It's very much set up as this perfect utopia, effectively. So Thea and Kid have just arrived to East Cobb, and they meet a couple people right away. Pretty much immediately, we are getting very, very, very icky vibes from the men in this town. It is super like chauvinistic, misogynistic behavior up in here, and the men are just despicable. They say some of the most batshit things, and unfortunately a lot of those batshit viewpoints are traditional conservative values, and so a lot of the people around her are just like okay with all of this. Kid, however, does stand up for Thea and is like very much proud of his wife and her accomplishments and her career. She's a journalist, and she wants to be a teacher at the school that Kid's going to be working at, and everyone just kind of scoffs at her and just dismisses her and is like, oh well, it's so wonderful that you can be here to support your husband, take up, you know, the docile domestic life. So immediately the men of East Cobb on thin ice, super thin ice. However, things only get weirder. Thea starts to hear screaming. No one else on the streetcar can hear it, and the screaming is saying something like, don't look away, the blood is on your hands, don't look away. After this whole thing, they go to their new home. Thea has another terrifying encounter, and then she talks to a neighbor woman who basically is just spewing the same shit that the men were saying, and she's just framing it as this amazing utopia that's so protected and safe, and women don't have to worry about anything, and they can finally let down their burdens, and how the men are all like brand new changed men who are leading perfectly virtuous whatever, blah blah blah. Thea, being an intelligent, educated, logical woman, is like, this seems too good to be true. Something is up here, something is wrong. And things just proceed to get weirder and weirder and more uncomfortable for Thea in this town, and it's really worrying me because Kid is seems like he's set up to be so perfect. He's the perfect husband. He's so thoughtful and kind and caring. He sees Thea for who she really is and appreciates her for everything she does. He really encourages her and stokes her ambitions, and he seems so perfect. And that worries me because either this man is gonna die or he's gonna become a huge fucking dick, and I don't like either of those options. I'm very worried because this is giving very much like Stepford Wives energy. It's really uncomfortable. There's just this tension that feels like your nerves are completely frayed, and I'm so worried for Thea. I'm so worried for Kid, and I'm also worried about these other characters. There's another like alternate POV that we get in here following a character named Mara. Mara and all of the characters related to her are kind of living in this separate but part of East Cobb location, and I don't really know where it is. It almost gives the vibe of like a nunnery or an institution of some kind, and it's just these women that live there. They're being kind of led sort of by another older woman named Clotilde, but she is kind of like the headmistress of this establishment, whatever it is. What this establishment does specifically is catering to the men of East Cobb, and not the way you think. These young women are able to absorb the horrific memories and the terrible experiences of the men of East Cobb. They draw those burdens into themselves, and they are called carriers. They carry these burdens for the men, and it refreshes the men. It makes them feel reinvigorated, like they're brand new, just reborn, all this amazing stuff, right? Of course, that all comes at the cost of these young women and their mental stability, their physical health, and this this incredible burden is put on these women to bear. Tale as old as fucking time, of course, because these labors are falling on the women and no one gives a shit about the women. No one cares about the carriers. They're given these like tinctures to help them recover after the sessions, drawing the burdens from these men, but no one actually cares about them. They just want them to perform. And when one of them stops performing, they disappear. And sometimes they're punished for having opinions that stand against the interests of this gift, they call it, capital G, the gift of taking the burdens from the men. So that's the other POV, I suppose, is following Mara. And through her, we get to know the other girls at the establishment. We get to know their backgrounds and how they came to be here, and more about the awful things that happen to them and the ways that the gift is cultivated and also weaponized against them, and how they view the men and women of East Cobb, who, in the case of the men, directly benefit from their suffering, and in the case of the women of East Cobb, are complicit and are turning a blind eye to what is happening to these girls because it benefits the men of East Cobb and therefore them. This book has so much going on in terms of the themes in here. Holy God, the themes. I am reading it as an ebook and I want to buy a physical copy and reread this because I want to annotate so much. There's so much in here. It's an incredible dissection of these themes that are in here, and I'm going to talk more about those in the wrap-up whenever I get to that. But so far, I am just absolutely loving this. I am having a really, really good streak of reads this month, and I am so happy to keep it going. I really hope that these books continue to be incredible. So those are the two current reads that I have, and I am loving both of them. I don't know how far I am in Our Sister's Keeper because it is an ebook and it doesn't show me on the bottom for whatever reason. I think I might be like 35-40% potentially. So I'll come back in at some point with more updates on these two books. I'm loving my time with them. As far as other activities, I have pretty much only been yapping about books, but I do need to do my mid-year journal spread. I like to do kind of a mid-year wrap-up spread of my reading to this point in the year, to the end of June specifically. Like nothing in July is going to count for that. I have all of my statistics written down and my favorite books and things like that. I just need to actually sit down and make it. So maybe I will film another journal segment in this vlog, and then aside from that, I don't really know. I haven't even been gaming recently. I've been playing Megabonk like here and there, but I've been so behind on editing and watching booktube that I'm just trying to like catch up on those things. So may or may not get to any cozy gaming in here, but that's okay. We are primarily here to talk about books, and that's what we're doing. Alright, I've been sitting in the car for 30 minutes now. My phone is about to die. I'm gonna go home. I will chat with you guys at some point in the future. Goodbye.
was a fairy.
Hello, it is now the next day. It is a Sunday today and I was working. It was incredibly, painfully, miserably slow today, but that meant I had a lot of time to do some reading. So first I finished A Lady for All Seasons. Let's talk about that one first. So last time I talked to you, I think I was about halfway. I don't really remember. I'm very bad at remembering where I was when I last talked to you. The remainder of it was really good. It was just as good as the first half, although I will say I was getting a little frustrated because one thing I hate in romance books is the Act 3 miscommunication trope. I hate it. I understand why it happens. It's a great way to raise the stakes and make you emotionally invested. You know, it adds drama, it adds a little bit of like uncertainty to it, even though you know they're gonna get together, so why do we even have to go through this? Like, why do we have to go through this whole miscommunication song and dance every time? But so we did have that section, and as much as I hated that section, I really did love the payoff of the whole thing. And I think that the way it wrapped up, even though you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, it doesn't really make the most sense, like societally or socially, I suppose, but it is a cute ending, and I did like the way that everything wrapped up. I really did enjoy this one, and it's not a 5-star, but I really had a good time with it. It was very cute. If you want a Regency romance, but you want something queer, there is so much to love in this little book, and it was very, very good for how short it was, only 288 pages. It honestly felt like it could have been a little shorter. It could have even been a novella, to be honest, because if you took out that miscommunication stuff and all the like back and forth hedging nonsense that was happening, it probably could have been shorter if you took out a lot of that stuff, but it was still very much worthwhile and I had a great time with it. So after I finished A Lady for All Seasons and was done blushing and giggling and kicking my little feet, I went back to my historical horror, Our Sister's Keeper, and resumed that, and what a tone shift again. It's wild going back and forth between genres like that, but it does keep you on your toes. Last I talked to you, I think I was around 40-something%. Last night in some sprints, I got to 65%. And today, at the end of my reading session, I was at 81%. We are firmly in the last quarter of the book now, and so much shit has gone down. Oh my god. The amount of times that my jaw hit the floor between last night and today reading this book, whew. And I'm not just saying that because it's hot in here. God damn. This book has been very, like I said in the last update, has been very like nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing and just tense. The atmosphere of this is so tense. There have been a lot of things that have happened since the last time I talked to you that have firmly established the horror of this. Not like the horror wasn't already there, but we've had a couple more scenes that actually made me feeling like really awful, honestly. They were very well done scenes, and the impact of them is just absolutely colossal. And I think in the next 20% that I have remaining, the horror is just gonna get even more amped up. It's gonna get even more exciting. I'm expecting a little bit of like a Slewfoot situation to happen in the rest of the book. If you've read Slewfoot and you know how that book ends, I'm getting a little bit of that energy right now, and I wonder if that's where we're going. But honestly, I have no idea. I have been thoroughly gobsmacked every step of the way with this book. I have not really been fully anticipating a lot of the things that have come out. Are they the most unpredictable plot points ever? I mean, no, I'm sure they're not to some people, but I have been extremely invested and intrigued in this, and I'm having a great time with all these reveals that are happening. So next time I talk to you, I will have a final update on Our Sister's Keeper, and I'm going to wrap this update up here because it is really hot and my phone just told me it needs to cool down. So I'm going to take it out of the sun because currently you're on my dash. But yeah, so I will see you in the next update. I will have my final thoughts on Our Sister's Keeper, and I cannot wait to tell you how I feel about it. Goodbye. Hello, I am currently sitting in the parking lot of my nail salon. I am under a tree, so forgive the pitter-patter on the roof. It is in fact raining, but I'm also below a tree. It looks like I'm in an empty, like, sound stage or something with all the white in the background, but that's okay. We're here, we're fine. So it has been several many days since I spoke to you, or it feels like it. It really hasn't been that long, but I was away this past weekend on a bachelorette trip, which you have seen the B-roll for. I was in Saratoga Springs. We were there for my best friend's bachelorette party, and it was a very, very, very packed weekend, so it feels like that weekend was like 4 days long. So I had a whole plan. Like, I brought 2 books with me. I had an ebook prepared for the drive up there and the drive back because it was like a 3-hour drive. Did I do any reading on the trip? No, not a minute. I didn't even listen to any of the audiobook that I downloaded because I was singing and bopping to some girly pop on the way there. And on the way back, I was catching up on some YouTube. So collectively, not a morsel of reading was done. But since the last time I talked to you, I have one reading update. Well, I mean, I've kind of DNF'd a couple of things, but I'm not going to talk too much about those because I didn't even introduce the books that I DNF'd. So as far as you're concerned, they don't exist. The one book that I did finish since the last time I talked to you that I did talk to you about... That makes no sense. Rewind. The one book that I have told you about, that I have since finished, is Our Sister's Keeper. I have in fact gotten myself a copy from Pango Books, and it arrived over the weekend while I was away. So I now have my own copy, and it is very, very beautiful. I love the cover of this book. So I have finished Our Sister's Keeper, and let me tell you what I thought of it. I had a really, really great time. I continued to have a really great time throughout the end of the book. My predictions about the things that were going to happen, some of the things happened that I predicted, and then some things absolutely were not how I expected them to go. Some of the events that happened towards the end were really, really cool. There was one scene in particular that happened at the institution where Mara and the girls were living, and that scene was really, really, really cool. Even though I loved a lot of the events that happened at the end and like the way that everything kind of wrapped up with the confrontations and how everything kind of played out, I was still happy with that. But then there was like an epilogue, and I wasn't super happy with the epilogue, to be honest. It all wrapped up like a little too nicely, a little too neatly, and I almost would have preferred to just leave it on that final chapter or before like that last epilogue wrap-up chapter. I almost preferred that kind of like slightly ambiguous ending that leaves it up to you what you think happens and not read the epilogue. So if you like your horror to not be like perfectly wrapped up in a neat little bow, and you don't necessarily need like a happy or positive ending or like an optimistic ending, if you want a little ambiguity, don't read the epilogue. I think it's the epilogue. I will check and I'll put it on the screen. I'm not sure if it's like just the last chapter or if it's officially called an epilogue. Anyways, that is the only reading update that I really have for you. I'm currently reading one other book right now, but I don't think I'll introduce it right now because I'm going to wrap up this vlog here. I got a ton of reading done during this video. I'm really happy overall with how I read for the last couple weeks, and despite kind of falling off with my reading the last few days, I am still very, very happy with some of the favorites that I found in this month. Incredible reads this month. And it is not over yet. We still have a few days left of July and the last little home stretch of the Readathon for our final battle. So I will probably just throw that into the next vlog, or if anything, I'll have like my next vlog start after the Readathon is officially over. But so far, it has been a resounding success. This Readathon has been fantastic. I've had such a great time with everybody, and it's not done yet. We still have more to do. So I am super hype about it. I'm gonna go in and get my nails fixed because they are destroyed. You can see I broke a few. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed. It means a lot to me that you're here. And if you want to comment, let me know what you are currently reading. If you're not feeling super chatty, but you want to let me know that you were here, drop the nails emoji because I'm going to go get my nails did. They are so bad right now. So drop some little diva nails in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.